All right. Hey, everyone. My name is Lauren Beal. This is my collaborator and creative partner, best friend, Brooke McNamara.
Hi, everybody.
Yay. We are coming here to have a conversation with one of our favorite and most beloved topics, creative practice, because we are gearing up to offer our third series called Cultivate Creative Practice. And this series theme is In the Belly of Impermanence. So we wanted to have a conversation. We do this all the time, but we wanted to have a conversation that we could offer so that you know a little bit about what we have in store for you and how excited we are to gather and dive in. So we wanted to do this in a way of just asking each other questions and see what happens. So welcome to us having a conversation about something we love. Hi, Brooke.
Hi. How's it going?
That's great. So we talk about this all the time, and I know that you love what we do because you keep saying yes, but I wanted to ask you again, why and what is it that you keep saying yes to when you come back to and get so excited about Cultivate?
Well, I can speak from like immediate experience, which is that we're preparing to offer this new series, and so we've been doing all the little nitty-gritty logistical things like making copy and the web page and everything. And so this morning I was just reviewing our web page, which has a lot of language that has been cultivated, no pun intended, and refined and sort of hard earned and playfully earned from the many Cultivate series that we've had. We used to have them in person, then we planned a retreat in Portugal, which got canceled. We canceled because of the pandemic. And then we've had two online series with the most amazing people from around the world. And it's really been one of the silver linings of the pandemic is getting to do this like really wild and intimate and life-giving work with people like halfway around the world. So from all of that, I feel like now our language is different than it used to be. I was reading it this morning, and it's whatever we crafted last weekend, I benefited from, and it's not like you and I created it. It's from the people that we've worked with and the many moments of insight that we've all had collectively, and funny moments and tearful moments and tricky, challenging moments that you and I have had planning. But when I was reading the copy, my like tired, quarantined parenting, working parenting self was like, yes, this again, because it's about no matter what the circumstances, and the circumstances right now are so weird on planet Earth. I mean, super uncertain and unpredictable, and there's some beautiful things, but it's also just hard and gritty. And so right in the heart of this gritty scenario that we're all facing, that's shifting right beneath our feet, how do we source this human birthright of being able to accept what is and imagine and participate with novelty and emergence? Mm-hmm. So to engage our imagination and to follow and track the sort of sensations of inspiration and either make art from those sensations and that imagination, or just like bring that to each other. Like even just talking about it right now, I feel in a better mood than I did 20 minutes ago. So it's like just to participate with aliveness and imagination together with other humans fills me up, makes me kinder, and sometimes surprises me with these kind of interesting and quirky works of art that come through myself and others and us in collaboration. And even if the artwork doesn't come through, the kind of intimacy and authenticity and energy that comes up when people begin to tap their creativity is just so beautiful. And so that's why I keep saying yes. I just fall in love with the process, with you as my partner, with my own self, with our partnership, and with all the people. Like, we've just gotten to fall in love with so many awesome humans.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I love that. I love that. And when we're saying how it's shifted, you know, like I think where we began was really still deeply tethered, and not that we aren't now, because I know for you and for me, we both still powerfully self-identify as artists in the world. Like that feels meaningful. Um, but in addition to that, to keep sort of teasing open that is not bound to that identity, and that creative aliveness is so deeply about just simply how we get to make sense of the world and express
Mm-hmm.
and come together and respond and engage and be in relationship. And if
Mm-hmm.
that comes to be, like you said, and how beautifully you do in the world with poetry or with movement or with visual art or with book writing or whatever it is, or making the meal or tending to the kid
Mm-hmm.
or being at the protest or writing the thing that like edges into and speaks and stands up for something, like that's the energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that we get to practice with people in a way of freeing it, like freeing it from the grabs of habit or from the grabs of identity that bounds it in particular ways, and just like the dynamic range. Let's get at it and free it, and like get to the tools that we can use it as powerfully, richly, and deeply as we can. And that
Yeah.
feels like a really big transition from where we began and what
Yeah.
was unlocked.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, we're here to learn and explore about how to make performances, or how to make photography, or how to make writing. And now it's really like we're here to just learn how to be humans freely and fully
Yeah.
together, and recognize our limitations and our biases, and help each other kind of unhook and free from those. And I just feel so grateful and humbled and empowered by like what we've been through together, and
Yeah.
what we've gotten to learn from the folks who've shown up so bravely.
Yeah. Seriously.
Okay,
Amazing people.
can I ask you a question now?
Bring it.
Okay. Um, well, I was going to ask you the same question, so I'm gonna switch it, and I'm gonna say this time is unique. So we did one in April and May, then we did one in June and July. Now we're doing one for 10 weeks, so it's a little longer. And it's not just you and me. Usually it's you and me facilitating. But now we have 4 amazing guest teachers. These were like our 4, reaches, and they all said yes. So we have Eitan Shapira, who's an amazing visual artist and um, creativity like genius, and we have Onyeyo Zuzu, who is a choreographer and an art administrator and a dancer, amazing teacher, and Donna Mejia, who's also a dancer and professor and just badass teacher, and Jamie Cato, who is a filmmaker and musician and super fun. Like, let's get into our own shadows and see what creativity is like locked in our shadows.
Yeah.
So those are the 4 that I'm like so jazzed to have. And I'm just curious if you can tell me what you're most excited about in having those guests.
Oh my
In
God.
like
This
in
is
like a minute. Just
right.
I don't,
I can't, I mean, I'm blushing just at how it like feels like. I mean, we always talk about getting to collaborate with each other has been like getting to collaborate with a crush, you know, and part of creative practice is coming deeply into the relationship, the most intimate relationship with the things that matter most, and the things that have impacted you and influenced you, that from those experiences, it's almost like the experiences become your skin and brain and heart and mind, and that becomes what is living you and moving out into this expression. And I know collectively that these four human beings have, if we can speak of our collective self, have been tremendously impactful.
Mm-hmm.
That the experiences that we've had with these four people have moved us and inspired us and deeply transformed us over the time that we've got to spend with them. And I'm speaking collectively because I have personal experience with three, but I get to meet Jamie for the first time. But I know how much that you love him, and so he's like, I'm excited for Jamie because he seems like a little bit of a trickster.
Oh my gosh, he's
You know?
such a trickster and such a
Yeah,
mischief maker, and
yeah, and I
in
love that.
like heartful way. He's so
Yeah,
fun.
you know me. I mean, I'm just like, oh, mischief is like
Yeah.
is deeply powerful. The way in which we play with humor, it's like getting into that shadow.
Mhm.
I'm so excited to meet him and to bring him on board. And just to speak personally, for Onye, I feel like I could speak forever about how deeply and how meaningful my time has been with her. But the one thing that I was thinking today, so I was like, what's so deep about Onye, is that she sits so deeply in this intersectionality,
Mhm.
of all of these myriad roles of whether it's, arts administrator or choreographer or uh, uh, dancer or professor or mother. She holds that intersectionality, and really deeply what she talks about in her bio, like not bound by that, but getting to like create from that like
Mhm.
magical, mysterious multiplicity in there.
Yeah, totally.
And what I love so deeply is that she's interested in churning that and getting to know that and play inside of that. But one of the things that I remember her, being in class with her and her strapping her baby on her back, and about motherhood. Like,
Yeah.
I came to her when our babies were the same age. They're almost born at the exact same time, our youngest. My oldest, her youngest. And for her, motherhood was never meant to be separate.
Mhm.
It's like art is life and life is art. And I remember that, like, being inside of art and motherhood for her and education was all one thing. And never one of those could be an excuse for the other. Like,
Yeah.
you couldn't just be an educator and let your motherhood sort of slack, and you couldn't ever use motherhood as an excuse for not being rigorous
Yeah.
in your creativity. It was like all of them were raising the bar of each other in this super
Right.
impossible and like gritty. I mean, not perfect, like get over that thing, but like really deeply
Totally.
embodied place. Um, so yeah, I don't know if you want to speak, to anyone either. To either Eitan or Donna, but I'd love to hear.
Sure. Yeah. Well, and I just want to say amen to how fun and wild and like boundary pushing Jamie is in the best way. And I've had so many aha moments listening to his audiobook and playing with him and chatting with him and being on panels with him and stuff. And Onye, also, I think that a lot of my like motherhood and creativity intersectionality actually was born at that from watching her do that in graduate school. And Donna is just like, uh, Donna is a queen. Like she's so funny and down to earth. But when I feel into like the dignity of what we do as artists or as creative humans, like the dignity of showing up to, either express ourselves in a like really rigorous and studied and like trained and also like deeply spiritual way,
Mhm.
but also like as thinkers, like as rigorous critical thinkers. I just am so inspired by her mind and her way of expressing her inner world. And so I'm excited for her to bring that like kind of badass laser beam quality. I don't know what she'll bring, but I'm so excited for just her potency and her depth. And Aton too. I mean, he's just like such an accomplished being, but every time we talk to him, he's the sweetest, most curious, most loving person. So just like all of their qualities, for some reason, they're all sitting together in my mind right now. And there's like childlike, queenly, mischief, and something about the combination of them feels really full and diverse and not complete, but like, wow, like a feast of wisdom.
Yeah. Yeah. And what I love is like, I just feel like we get to meet inside of this deep devotion for the inquiry around creative practice. And like you said, all of those words, like from childlike and playful to mischievous to gritty to mysterious to like, you know, I just love Aton's, when we had that conversation with him and he, like the ideas were like bubbling out of him. Well, you know, you could just like see his mind spontaneity, you know, and yet the way, the thing that he led us through in at the Integral European Conference was like mind-blowingly simple, but also mind-blowingly profound. I was like, how'd you do that? All the way in which he crafted that experience. And then with Donna, I just feel like it's no, what's the word? No, I can't even, I'm losing the words, but that she has co-founded what's called, or founded the Sovereign Collective. Which is her sort of like social activist, creative, collaborative group that she leads. I'm like, of course, we're just coming into that idea of sovereignty inside of our creative practice, and then she's coming in with this like badass download. She's like, you know. So yeah, I just love the way that it calls us. Like, I feel, you know, like my nostrils are widening and my eyes and like my perception to like what they call out inside of my own self. And we were talking about that too, that I'm excited to just watch us grow inside of this too. And what kind of full community gets to gather around us.
Totally. So my last question for you is, what would you say to someone who feels curious but scared? Like this feels a bit scary, maybe.
Yeah. Welcome. Really. I mean, you know, like I feel terrified. I think the awesomeness of being human, the more that I grow into it, you know, is like, oh no, the terror is real. I mean, remember our mentor, Michelle Ellsworth, says that. I remember asking her, does it get easier? And she's like, oh, hell no. And isn't that the sign of like, like, you know, like the complexity gets to grow. The terror might always be there, but like, what I love about this is that it bolsters our capacity and our okayness inside of the fear, and almost maybe a little bit of like delight inside of the fear.
And community. Like,
yes, exactly.
That's the thing. That's the other thing I would say, if you're scared, is welcome, but also the nicest people. I mean, it's not that we aren't real with each other and give like loving challenges, but it's like the kindest, most amazing community. I'm so excited to reunite with the folks who've been coming.
Yeah.
That's probably enough for now, do you think? Like, just to give people a little bit of a taster? We could talk for days about this, but...
We could. So excited. I'm so excited for people to return. I'm so excited to meet you for the first time if you choose to join us. And yeah, please reach out if you have any questions or thoughts or um,
Yeah.
we're open to receive you.
Yeah, and there's a link with all the info, and if you want to register there, and like Lauren said, if you have questions, we can chat. So
Cool.
here we go.
Onward.
Onward. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks everyone.